My Joann Fabrics is closed from hurricane damage. Guys, it is time for the first Halloween spooky project of the year. I'm so excited. I bought a quilt kit that is Halloween themed. Here's the preview. I'm so excited, and we're gonna be making this as a gift for my friend John. John, if you're watching this, you already probably got spoiled, but click out or don't. I don't care, but just be excited when I give it to you. I seriously can't believe it's September. It's like mid-September, borderline late September, and I haven't done a spooky project yet, and that is seriously not acceptable. So I need to channel some spooky energy and really get into the spirit, and making a quilt is like going to do that. I already know. There's a little bit less of a disgusting humid heat in the air here, and I am so ready for fall. I recently kind of discovered the world of like quilt stores and like specialized quilting cotton and like quilt kits, and started going to my local quilt store more, and it's super expensive, but I have gained a lot of like knowledge and awareness of quilting stuff since I started going there. They have some really cool quilt kit panels and things like that at my quilting store, but I started browsing online as well, and I found this quilting kit from Quilts and Quilts, the fabric shop. I think that is the name of the store that I got it from, but I believe I ordered it from a local quilt store, but that's in Missouri. So like similar to my local quilt store, but they shipped it to me. It was an online order, and this was $50.99. A lot of these quilting kits are quite expensive, and you still have to add like batting and backing and things like that. But I absolutely fell in love with this motif and this design. So this big piece in the middle is like one big fabric panel, and then you have adorable vintage Halloween vibes going on the entire thing. And I'm so excited to say we are going to be making this quilt for one of my very dearest friends, John. He lives in Kansas City, so we don't get to see him very often, but when I tell you this type of Halloween vintage, like just like, I don't know, I can't explain it. This is just John. This is John right here. This is him. So I am so beyond excited to make this quilt for him. I have never actually made a quilt for someone else. I've made quilted things for other people, like pot holders and like pouches and things of that nature. I've never made someone else a quilt. He is such a quilt-worthy friend, so I'm really excited to make that for him. The kit basically consists of a bunch of pieces of fabric. It's everything that you need to make the patchwork for the front and the binding, which means we will be making binding, which is like not my favorite thing. I kind of hate making binding, but we're gonna do it for the sake of making John a nice quilt. I guess it doesn't matter if I show you guys this pattern, because this is like, you have to buy the fabric anyway, and otherwise it's a very simple quilt pattern, but it basically tells you how to trim all the pieces and how to arrange it. And this makes a quilt that's 43 inches by 62.5 inches. So it's like kind of like a lap or like a throw blanket, I think. And it tells you that you need like 3 yards of backing and batting-ish. So I just went off of that. I actually don't know if I needed all that. I maybe could have made it work with less, but I went with just a classic vintage dot. This is just Quilter's Showcase from Joann. So I did buy this when it was on super sale. So I think I got like 3 yards for $3 a piece. And I just thought, like, I was between this and the quilting cotton that looks like tie-dye, if you know what I mean. They both looked really great with the vintage fabric, but I just felt like the polka dot was really channeling that like kooky vintage Halloween, and I love it. I will link the quilt kit down below that I got if you guys are interested. Unfortunately, there was not a good size pre-cut batting. Crib wasn't big enough, and so I ended up having to get twin, which is 72 by 90. So I'll just have some scraps left over, but I actually have some projects that I need scraps for, so I think it'll be fine. So that's what I had to buy, was this, the fabric, and then I ended up buying thread to quilt this with as well because I wanted a specific color. I wanted something that was gonna like look vintage kind of and not stand out too much but still be visible. So I went with like this, like, I don't know what I would call that, like a grayish, like a gray, it's more of a brown though, it's not a beige. It's like a brownish gray. It was kind of an odd choice for me. I don't usually pick colors like this, but I just felt like it would play on the quilt really well and that John would really like it. I thought it would have good contrast with the back. I didn't want to do white quilting just because, I don't know, I didn't think I would love that on the back and that wouldn't like give me, it's not what I would picture for John, but black felt too harsh and too like, I don't know. I don't want to say too Halloween-y because that's not possible to be too Halloween-y in my opinion, but it just, I don't know, this gave like a softer vintage feel and I was feeling it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm dressed all spooky now for the vibes, but the next time you see me, I'll be trimming up the pieces and starting the patchwork. So let's open this up. I'll show you guys the fun fabrics that absolutely sold me on this bundle. First and foremost, of course, we have, I don't know why I want to call him the Pumpkin King. Pumpkin Patch One Night. It's so cute. Like this pose, this vibe, you guys, like my friend John is just gonna die. He's gonna die. I'm so excited. Well, hopefully not actually. That would be spooky. Look at all the details. So cute. By the way, I did actually find this, only this panel. Like you can buy just this panel. I forget how much it was. It was like under $15 or maybe $10 or something like that. I don't really know how this works. I bought this from a local quilt store. I don't believe that they put it together, but actually they might have, because isn't this their, I don't know. I think maybe they did put this together, but this line of fabric, if you look up this name, Bonnie's Setting Quilt Kit Pumpkin Patch, if you look up the Bonnie's Pumpkin Patch, it's like a line of fabric. So you can buy just the fabrics if you're interested. You just have to like do a little bit of digging. So that's the first panel. So excited. These are the motifs that I believe go in all of the corners. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at her. Oh my God, she's precious. I just like could not resist. This is like my favorite. Well, I don't want to say it's like my favorite Halloween vibe. I'm a 90s kid, so I love like 90s, early 2000s Halloween, like when everything was plastic. That's my favorite thing. But I do also love like the true vintage Halloween. That's just like, just because it's witchy, it's spooky, it's like folky. So fun. Those are the little corner panels. And then I guess I don't need to fully unravel this. This is what I meant when I said like the quilting cotton that's tie-dye-ish. This is just like black and gray for, let's see, where's the image? I should take this out of the bag so I can stop blinding you guys with a glare. This black fabric is for all of these long lines. And then this last fabric is the multi-pattern one that goes in all of these spots. Johnny Boy Seed Tomato, love his work, love his work. Oh my God, there's some like really, really deranged shit on here, you guys. What? I didn't even like notice this really, but the background is spiderweb. That's so cute. Oh my God, these fabrics are incredible. I'm so happy. So, is $50.99 a lot? Yes, I think it's a situation where you're paying a little bit more because it's put together for you and there's a quilt pattern and it's just the right amount of fabric. But I love that I shouldn't have like too many scraps. There should be, you know, it's like the right amount of fabric. So that's good from like a waist standpoint. Oh, and I didn't mention, but the black dyed fabric is what the binding is made out of. I don't know what I want to do as far as like quilting it, so we'll have to see. I mean, I've seen some incredible like pumpkin patch quilt patterns, like where you quilt little pumpkins, but I obviously don't have a free motion quilting machine or like a quilting machine at all. Shout out to my little jank brother. Let's get spooky quilting, y'all. We have reached the part where we're gonna start cutting. I'm extremely nervous. I actually washed all the fabric, and when you take something out of the wash and you see that, the paranoia hits, but I think everything, like all of the cottons did fray like quite a bit, but I think it should be okay as far as quantity goes. I'm hoping. I haven't measured anything. So I looked at this pattern. It's literally 3 steps of instructions. It just basically says sew it together. So it's kind of trial and error. It just gives you all of the measurements that you need. So I'm gonna start and just go down the line and start cutting these fabrics. Pumpkin King, Pumpkin King. Okay, I've got all 4 of my squares cut for the corners. This one, unfortunately, I don't know, it was like weirdly positioned and it was completely angular, so I had to do my best, but the lines are not like perfect. The image with the square, like this is a square based on my ruler, but like the image isn't necessarily lining up. You can see like the white's thicker over here than over here, so hopefully that doesn't look crazy when I do put the quilt together. But I've got the main panel cut and now the 4 ones for the corners. So I've been cutting. I now have the short strips in the black fabric and the print, the long strips in the fabric and the print and the black, and then over there I have all the binding strips. I have to figure out the order I want to do this. I think it makes the most sense to sew together all of the strips on the sides, then attach those to the squares. Or do I just work out from the big panel? I'm not sure, but they weren't kidding when they said basic sewing knowledge is assumed. This material is extremely stretchy for like a quilting cotton. Maybe I've just never used like nice quilting cotton, but this feels so stretchy to me. Like, I'm scared it's gonna like warp and do weird things. So one helpful thing that it did say is to press all seams towards the dark side, which I've never really made any quilts that have such kind of intense contrast. So I think that's really, that's really helpful. I don't know that it would matter so much with this print, but with the panels with designs on it, I feel like it really will. I would love to hear like what kind of spooky season, Halloween crafts or projects you guys are working on. I did my Halloween quilts not that long ago, and that was like, you know, half a Halloween project, but this was like, I feel like I needed to do a project where I could buy like special Halloween fabric. I will say there are some Halloween fabrics at Joann that have been catching my eye. I've been holding out just because I knew that I had this project and like other things kind of underway, but I don't know. I definitely might just sneak in and buy some Joann Halloween fabric soon here.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because somebody wears a lot of things.
It's a little bit later now. I have both of the longer pieces that are identical to the ones I showed you before. Both of these are done, and both of the shorter pieces are done.
Clips that I've been working on, like really. To wrap up the sweater category, I do want to mention something. I had to start from over a year in my stash.
We have a quilt top. What is that hanging off the bottom? Hello, you're not needed. I'm so happy with how it turned out, you guys. It looks exactly like the picture. The trickiest thing so far has been that some of the boxes like have, you know, lines in them, and it's really hard with the way fabric shifts, and like the designs shifted a lot in the wash too, so it was just kind of like hard to line everything up perfectly. But as we know, perfectionism is not present in my household, so I'm cool with it. I'm really happy with what I got done today. I'm gonna call it for the day, and then when I feel like picking this project up again, we will be making a quilt sandwich. Good morning, y'all. It is the next day. I'm cleaning up my mess from yesterday. I am gonna make a quilt sandwich. I have a couple minutes this morning. I'm so excited about the patchwork that I made yesterday. Cannot wait. We've officially reached the point in the instructions where it says quilt as desired and bind. Also 2 things. 1, my shirt. Hello. Thank you to my bestie Tara, got this for me for my birthday last year. I did have extra pieces of fabric. The kit actually gave me 2 extra panels of the, like, I only needed 4 and it gave me 6. So I have these 2 cutie pumpkin ladies that I think would make like really, really cute pot holders or something like that. Little quilted pot holders, I'm not sure, but I'm holding on to those. This is the batting I've been using recently. It's just the Pellon cotton batting. If you saw my quilted jacket video, my Aunt Gingham jacket, I used like the polyester batting for the first time and melted it with my iron. So I'm gonna stick to cotton from now on, but especially for like a gifted quilt, I feel like cotton is just the easiest material to care for. So I think it just makes the best, or makes the most sense to gift a cotton quilt. But this cotton batting is a little bit more affordable than like Warm and Natural. So I've been using this. This is what I used for my cottagecore quilt too. And I like it so far. Oh my God, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself because I just remembered I have to actually sew the back fabric into a large enough piece. I forgot about that because right now this is just a 3-yard cut from Joann. Okay, we have a full quilt back. I think I did a good job with that seam. It doesn't look too crazy. Now we can make our sandwich. Finally, like I thought I was gonna do. So over time, I have kind of developed my own method of basting a quilt where I just do it on the table and then I put my ironing board here and I kind of just flatten and pin as I go. I've seen like more specific methods for this that are probably better. So if you look up like how to baste a quilt on a table, there are some good guides, but I just cannot with my knees and hips and like raggedy ass body. I cannot be like on my hands and knees on hard floors. So this just works better for me. I will say I do get some weird bunching in my quilts sometimes. It doesn't bother me that much, but keep that in mind. So as of right now, I love the quilt. Like I think it's looking so beautiful. I love the choice of the backing. It's all basted. I'm feeling for the first time ever that my sewing machine is not capable of doing the quilting that I'd love to do, because the photo, I'll insert a photo of what the example quilted one looked like that they had on their website. It was definitely done with a long arm, and it was kind of like more like intricate kind of swooping. I thought it was beautiful, but that wasn't necessarily my vision. I was kind of hoping to be able to quilt like in each piece, like maybe back and forth, and then like across like this, like in each piece. The problem with that is that my little brother's sewing machine is just like most likely not capable of being able to fit like the elbow part or whatever you call that, like it's not big enough to stuff the rest of this quilt like in each direction. So I think I might have to simplify for the sake of the limitations of my sewing machine, which sucks, but like I cannot buy a long arm quilting machine, so that's out of the question, obviously. Do I just do like straight lines in either direction, like just going one way? I don't know, you guys. This is hard. I feel like this quilt top is so beautiful, and I just don't want to do anything that's gonna make it look crazy. I think I'm gonna do diagonal, create a diamond pattern. I think it'll look beautiful. What is up, you guys? It is like days, maybe a week later. I have had such a stressful week. We had to evacuate for the major hurricane that happened. So we have been out of our house, and luckily we made it through okay. We have power again and no major damage to our house or property or anything like that. But obviously when there's a major hurricane, like, you know, like 4 or 5 days in advance. So you just run around like a nut, you get nothing done, but like you have to prepare. And then like we had to make the call that we needed to evacuate. So I had an insane week. I literally quilted, I think, like 4 lines on the Halloween quilt and then had to dip. So we're so back, baby. I don't know. There's like this crazy adrenaline rush that happens with the hurricane, and then it's like a big major crash. So I'm just kind of trying to like recover, and I thought quilting might be a really fun and relaxing way to do that. The only thing that's been haunting me is that I know I have to make and do binding. I would be lying if I said I still didn't feel in the back of my mind like I may go to Joann and get pre-made binding for this project. We're gonna see, but first we have to finish quilting it. So that is the first thing on the agenda. Just if any of you guys were also affected by the hurricane, my heart goes out to you. I have really bad storm anxiety, so climate change is really a motherfucker. Any fellow Floridians, you just know the stress of a hurricane is coming. It's like really unlike anything else. But I'm so happy that it's, you know, behind us, at least this one. So I did about 8 lines on the quilt so far. Might be able to see it there. And I actually kind of love the stripes going this direction. I'm not even sure I'm gonna hit it the other way. We're gonna see once I do all the stripes in one direction what that looks like.
Do you want to hit some names too? Do you want to add to the list? Lake Queens.
Yeah, I think you can tell I'm off my game. I hate feeling like this isn't like my absolute best quilting work. Also, I have a few spots on the back that bunched. I mean, this is just the reality of quilting, so I'm, you know, it's okay. It's a handmade quilt, but I'm a little bit disappointed. My lines aren't looking that great, especially right in the center, in the pumpkin area, which is so frustrating, but oh well. Hello. It is so many days later. If anyone follows weather news, which I know is so exciting, there's another hurricane, and Florida is just not okay, y'all. It's a hellscape. Everyone just getting their lives back together. Another hurricane. It's been a couple weeks, and my quilt is in the exact same place that it was before. Now, listen up, y'all, because the worst is yet to come. My Joann Fabrics is closed from hurricane damage. So because of that, I've also just been stressed, and my crafting brain has just not been on point. My Joann is hurt, okay? I think there was some water damage, leaking situation. I really don't know the extent of it, but it's not open. That also delayed my progress on the quilt, and unfortunately had to make a trip to Hell on Earth, Hobby Lobby. I really don't go there unless I literally have to, or like there's some insane deal on something. Like I would not front and say that I don't shop there, but like I really try not to go there. I hate the clientele, and the vibes are just absolutely rancid. The book section, jump scare. Anyways, because Joann is not open, okay, I had to go to Hobby Lobby, and this is my shameful purchase. Listen, the hurricanes made me do it. I'm gonna use pre-made binding. Whatever hope and dream I had of making my own binding, I know some of you guys are gonna be like, girl, what the hell? You already cut the strips. I know, but listen, it's not the time. It's like October 10th today. John's birthday is October 21st, and I also want him to have it soon. And Don't worry, I will use this at a later date for a later quilting project, but today's not the day. Can we talk about how these are literally 99 cents at Hobby Lobby for 3 yards? They're like $4 or $5 at Joann for the same amount. Just saying. Anyways, I got 4. I honestly did not even measure and count. This is how many they had. I guess it actually does say that it's $2.99, but oh, here's one positive. My bestie Tara did my nails with these super fun bug and fish critter stickers. So they're very cute and fun. Anyways, this is my shameful purchase. We're using pre-made binding. Some of you probably saw it coming. I hate making binding. I'm getting so frustrated with my brother, you guys. I do not have the ability to buy a new sewing machine right now, but it's like, I do feel that I have outgrown her. What do I do? Because I don't know where that leaves me, because the upgraded sewing machines from this are like $800 or more. And she's like $100 sewing machine. Like, what do I do, you guys? Ugh, I'm not happy with my quilting lines. They look horrible, you guys. What is wrong with me? This quilt is just like really clearly holding emotional baggage from the last few weeks. Like, this is just crazy. I'm not happy at all with my quilting. Why does it have to be for a gift? Like, why couldn't this have happened for the cottagecore quilt? Why does this have to happen when it's a gift for my dear friend? I do feel like I'm being too hard on myself, but I do not love it at the moment. Guys, I just have to shout out Haley from Lock Knits. I'll put her handle or her YouTube channel on the screen. She is so cool. I'm obsessed with her. She is my favorite crafting YouTube channel right now. And she just puts out like podcasts about knitting and quilting and spinning. And she's so cool. Check her out, you guys. Maybe if I watch some Haley, I can feel a little better about this quilting and channel her and do some actually good quilting right now. Because, y'all, what is this line? It's like literally like wiggly. I should have just stuck with the squiggle quilting, you guys. That's where I know my talents. Anyways, hopefully Haley can bring me out of this quilting slump.
4th year? 3rd or 4th? Or 5th? 4th? I'm not sure. My friends and I have been to the New York Sheep and Wool Festival so many times that we have so many tidbits, pieces of information, tips and tricks that we have learned along the way, and I thought it would be super fun to share them in a video with you guys.
Guys, I'm so stupid. Please look at what I just did. Finally started to get a groove again with quilting. I just quilted down my backing. I was borderline not gonna make it through this quilt as it is. Now I have to seam rip? God damn it. I like might need to take a step away from this quilt right now. Like, oh my god. Literally nothing could depress me more than seam ripping quilting. The back is really not the cutest, you guys. The bunching is so real. That is so bad, you guys. Oh my god. Okay, I actually think it's gonna be okay. Like, I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think. If I received a quilt of any kind, I don't think I would, like, think about the little puckers and bunches, but, like, for me as someone who's trying to, like, develop a craft here, I am not happy with myself. I am not gonna put myself through the pain of quilting the other direction, because I actually do like the stripes, the horizontal or the diagonal stripes. So I'm done quilting. Let's trim her up. Let's bind her. I think it's gonna look better. Okay, one other quick note. When I trim this quilt, I think what I'm gonna do is trim it a little out from the actual edge, because when I bind it, I want the binding to be like a little more full, and I also just don't want to cut off like the areas where there is an image towards the edge. I don't want to cut it off weird, so That's the plan. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, but the way that I ended up fixing those quilting lines, it's hard to sort of see it on the design, thankfully, but it was these two lines. I just like backstitched and kind of redid the part of it. It looks less good on the back, but it's not too bad actually. Trimming quilts is so satisfying. Like, it's just like after the quilting process, like, oh, I live. Okay, 2 updates. 1, sliced my finger with the rotary cutter. First time ever. What the hell? That's literally never happened to me before. On the last cut of my quilt, I sliced that shit. It hurt really bad, almost like a burn for a second as I like skidded it across. It was not good. I'm trying not to bleed on the quilt, which I didn't bleed on the quilt, thank God. It is bleeding a lot. I'm gonna bandage it up in a moment here, but I'm putting pressure on it right now. I should probably not be holding this quilt while I'm bleeding, but guys, trimming the quilt made all of the difference to me. I am so happy with it now. Like, even the back looks good now. I think it's so cute. Like, when I looked at it in the mirror in the other room, I just was obsessed. I think it's so cute. Like, are there issues with my lines? Sure. But ultimately, I think that the like single direction diagonal quilting stripes are actually really cute. So it's coming together. It's coming together. And I know John is gonna love it. So I'm feeling a little bit better. Band-aid secured. Can anyone watching who is a quilter tell me, what do you guys do with your quilt scraps once you trim your quilt? Do you stuff things with them? Like, do you put them in like your yarn scraps to stuff plushies? Or like, what do I do with this? I always feel like there's like a ball of fabric at the end and I never know, and it's like not enough batting to really reuse. So I don't know, this is something that's always bothered me about quilting. Please let me know if you have like good tips on how to use this, or like what you guys do with these, or are you like me and you just have like a garbage bag full of them in your closet that you never touch? All right, so I'm going to do something that I don't normally do when I do binding, which is like iron these parts down so that when you flip it around, it's like really crisp. I'm gonna do that for this. Done. I'm so happy that this project is over. I'm actually very proud of the way that she turned out. I think John is gonna freak out and love it so much. I can't wait to package it up later today and take it to the post office tomorrow. It's super cute. I am happy that I ended up going with the pre-made binding. It just made that part of the process very mindless for me. So considering all of the emotional and life things that happened and multiple hurricanes and everything, I'm like happy that I finished it in October. Now, as far as the kit itself, would I recommend the kit for $50.99? So I think I learned something about myself as a quilter through this process, and I think I just didn't find as much joy in like a predetermined fabric cut and patchwork situation. Like, I thought it would be fun to follow like the guide and do that, but I enjoyed making my cottagecore quilt so much more because that was really like a creative process, very like free form, free flowing, and I was just like creating patchwork off of like my design and preferences. And this was, you know, about kind of creating something that I've seen before. So I think those two things, as far as like creative process, I prefer the more wild, not a lot of measuring, more like quilting off of vibes to like a predetermined kit. But I will say, I think that the quality of the fabric is incredible. I love the panels, and it was like a fun, good learning experience, different type of project, and like it was worth it to me. I thought it was worth the money for me to be able to make this for John, and I'm really excited. I do have one exciting thing to share, which I think is like a quilter's like achievement, I would say. I feel like I hit an achievement today in quilting that has never happened to me before, and I'm feeling very, very proud of myself about, which is that not once on this entire binding did my stitch jump. Like, I call it jumping the binding. I made that up. I don't know what it's actually called, but like when you do the second part of the binding and you like sometimes miss the back here and you can see the thread like in the backing, that did not happen once on this entire quilt. So like the whole binding looks perfect and I could not be happier. So that's something I haven't been able to do yet and I feel really proud that I did it. And so the next step I think is using binding that I made. Happy Halloween from me and the pumpkin man to y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful beginning of fall spooky season and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!